I lost my mother at birth.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. How did it happen?
I was adopted.
Oh, that doesn't count.
If I tell somebody that I lost my family and I lost my mother and I didn't even know what my name was until a year ago, I would be met with kindness and empathy and understanding until I say that I'm an adoptee, and that changes everything. Adoptees are survivors of trauma, but nobody sees it that way. Adoption has this glowing halo around it, and everybody just thinks it's beautiful, but that tricks people. I used to see it that way too, but now I see it very differently, and now I have found the truth. My entire life, I bought into the propaganda of adoption, that it's beautiful, that it's wonderful, that it saves children, that it puts families together. I believed all that for a very, very long time. It didn't start to be different for me until I found my family, until I started finding the truth of what had gone on, started finding lies that had been given to me, and that changed everything. There's trauma, there's hurt, there's pain. Adoption is the act of a mother and a child being separated. It's the act of a child being taken from their family. It's the act of a child being erased from their family and being given to another family. What it really is your family becomes strangers and strangers become your family. Everybody just expects you to be okay with that and think it's beautiful and be grateful. In any other circumstance, if a child loses their mother in childbirth, then that child grows up knowing they experienced that trauma. Everybody is going to circle around that child. They're going to all make sure that that child is okay. They're going to make sure that that child always remembers their mother and talks about them and never forgets them. But if it's an adoption, they don't even see it as a loss. They actually do the opposite, and they try to get the child to forget the mother and not even consider that person a mother. There is so much research in mother-child bonding that to not acknowledge this as a loss is just to have to throw all that out and just act like it doesn't even exist. But we know it does. We know it's trauma. This child grew inside this mother for 9 months. She literally created this child. There is a bond and there is a connection. So much of the time, people just assume, well, the child wasn't wanted, but that's not what happens. What happens is the mother is coerced into giving her child up for adoption because of lack of resources, shame, or many other things. Most of the time, it is not because the mother didn't want the child. So breaking that bond is trauma. I know personally, when I found my mother at 58 years old and met her in person at 59 years old, there was such a connection. I couldn't believe it. There were so many things that I did that she did, shows that I watched that she watched while she was pregnant with me, books that she read that were my favorite books that she read when she was pregnant with me. We would say the exact same things, and my daughter who was with me would look at me and be like, "You've said that your whole life." That bond is there and it never died. But people expect it to not to be. They expect this whole blank slate idea that a child is just a blank slate and you can write them into whoever you want them to be and you can make them into whoever you want them to be. It's not true, and we know that. And again, that's child research. We know that these things are not true. You can't say in one instance that these things matter, that mother-child bonding, that all of this research that we have, that all of this matters. But if it's adoption, then no, it doesn't matter. You can't say that. It matters. You can't make it matter in one instance and not matter in the other one. Adoption is loss. Adoption is trauma. Adoption is pain. Adoption takes and takes and takes, and it takes things that you can never replace. And mostly what it takes is time. You never get that time back with them. The break with the bond with the mother and the child is only the very beginning of the trauma. There's so much trauma throughout an adoptee's life. There's transracial adoptions, there's transnational adoptions, there's so much trauma across the board. And just like with any other survivor of trauma, there's victim blaming. It's across the board, same victim blaming that you have in any other type of trauma. A lot of people like me were lied to. I didn't even know I was adopted. I believed I was the biological child of these people that adopted me. Growing up, I believed I was biologically somebody I wasn't. That's trauma, and it's actually abuse. Many times you don't have any medical information. All of us know that. We all go in and mark the section on the paperwork that says we don't know our information, we're adopted. All adoptees know that's trauma. There's so much more that adoptees lose, but again, nobody even recognizes this as trauma. But if you're an adoptee, you are a survivor of trauma. Adoption is the separation of a child from their family, and that's trauma, no matter what. Adoptees lose so much. History, culture, heritage, lineage. We lose so much that we didn't even know that we lost and that everybody else takes for granted. What adds on to all of this trauma is that nobody even recognizes it as trauma. We're just supposed to be grateful and thankful. If we say anything about our trauma, then we're just attacked with people saying, well, would you rather have this awful thing happen to you, or would you rather have that awful thing happen to you? It's not even acknowledged damaged. It's just diminished and invalidated. If we dare to mention our family or wanting to find our family or wanting to know anything about us, again, we're attacked. And you're just ungrateful. Nobody even understands that, which is just a natural reaction for anybody. You should always know who you are. Everybody is born with a birthright to know who they are. And if you don't, that's trauma. I see so many adoptees try to justify why they want to look for their family or why they want to talk about them. You don't have to do that. It's natural. It's normal. You don't have to justify wanting to know who you are and know your family. And then there's trauma that people don't want to talk about. Everybody assumes that adoptees end up having a better life, a saved life. Everybody just assumes that adoptees are saved, that they are given to a family and they're going to have a better life. But that's not always true. Sometimes there is horrific abuse and nobody talks about that. And anytime people do try to talk about that, they're just silenced. Nobody wants to hear it, but their stories matter. It's trauma. Regardless though of what happened after the adoption, whether it was a good situation or a bad situation, adoption is trauma. You're still separated from your family, your culture, your heritage, your mother. It's trauma. Ultimately, you're separated from you. You're separated from what makes you you. You don't even know who you are. That's trauma. Everyone needs to understand that adoption starts with loss. And when we acknowledge that loss instead of denying it, we create space for adoptees to grieve and feel all of their emotions. The more that we understand that adoption is trauma, the more we can understand and support adoptees. If you're an adoptee and you related to this, please let me know in the comments. Your voice matters. If this gave you a better insight into why adoption is trauma, please share it with others. Understanding begins with listening, and adoptees are who we should be listening to. Every time we choose to listen to adoptees instead of telling them how they should feel, we make the world a little bit safer for adoptees to tell their truth. Many adoptees did have a good experience, and we hear about that a lot. What we don't hear are the adoptees that did not have a great experience, and it's time to listen to their voices too.